something that is success at one point is later like a very normal reality for you. Matlab, if you've signed up for business, especially, there will always be another brand who would be doing better than you. There would always be another brand, maybe less deserving, getting more funds because of whatever reasons. Identify how you can work on things that technology cannot replace in whatever areas, be it finance, be it, operations, be it marketing, social media, content creation, anything. You have to do so many things only to declutter and say कि यार ये 10 चीज़ें काम करती हैं और ये 20 चीज़ें हटा दो. But you have to fail quick, ना, do quick, fail quick, and D2C allows you that. हमने 140 SKUs निकाल लिए, फिर realize किया यार ये top 10 products से ही main revenue आती है. एक website है जो हमने WooCommerce पे बनाई है. WordPress का एक भाई है WooCommerce, उस पर हमने अपनी website बनाई है. वो भी हमने खुद ही बनाई थी. We didn't hire anyone for that. We made the website. First we did like makeshift photos from the phone. Then we realized that essentially the person is buying the photo and not the product. So we invested in good photography. In fact, I have a knack for finding talent. Like I love that. Like that's one of my favorite things to do. So quite a lot of photographers who did photography for a website were doing that for the first time for a brand. Some of them were just influencers. Some of them were just like Instagram pay content creators. And then I was like, listen, I don't want you to post or anything, but I just like your content, so can you just create? So, and then eventually now they have actually pivoted to that. Like now they're not dependent on Instagram to earn because they started with us and they're still working with us. So I found like really like I say Instagram में मैंने सबसे ज़्यादा hire किया है. Looking at people's work, and I feel like their feeds is kind of like a portfolio because you're really raw and you're not polished so much there compared to your actual resume. तो वो किया, photography करा के photos डाले, then wrote product descriptions, then eventually we realized that okay, we need to build content, so we started writing blogs. Slowly we were like अच्छा ठीक है, बाकी brands कैसे कर रहे हैं? Then we identified कि okay, Facebook ads होते हैं. Facebook ads चलाए खुद से, नहीं चले. Then we found an agency. We worked with them. By the time 3rd month we saw good traction, मतलब good return on our ad spend. फिर Google भी start किया उन्हीं के साथ ही. फिर मतलब धीरे करके क्योंकि हर वक्त like there was something new that was coming up. So I think our best teachers were the brands around us. And that's why I don't look at them as competition. I look them as contemporaries that I can learn from. Because if they're doing something and it's working and the customer is liking, then I feel like ki, haan, matlab, there is something to learn and I can also try that out. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's a expensive growth experiment.
At what point did you hit success with Amrutam? You were doing all this, 3 महीने तो लोगों में गए, उसके बाद काफ़ी सारा और भी development हुआ. You learned how to do Facebook ads and Google ads, as you just mentioned. All this culminated efforts के बाद. When did you start seeing results?
I feel like something that is, I might sound a little philosophical, but something that is success at one point is later like a very normal reality for you. Like I remember जब हम लोगो बना रहे थे तो हमारे माँ बाप बोलते थे कि यार तुम लोग बस ना 5 लाख रुपीज़ a month ले आओ, हम तो समझ लेंगे तुमने बहुत अच्छा business create कर लिया.
कब हुआ ये?
ये लोगों के timeline से बताऊं?
लोगों वाले timeline.
So this happened in 2019.
So 2 years.
Yeah. Like basically the website actually started running in 2017 का end, but the ads started in 2018. तो 1 साल from the ads.
Lovely.
And then that became really normal. And then they were like कुछ और करो,
5 लाख से क्या ही होता है?
कुछ और तूफानी लाओ, ठीक है? फिर तो मुझे अब लगता है कि बहुत obsession सा होता जा रहा है. मतलब मैं LinkedIn खोलती हूँ और फिर this company has done 1,000 crores, this company has done this much in so much time, and then I feel like that success is becoming, मतलब if you have raised funds, you're successful. एक तो ये बहुत standard बन गया है, ठीक है? We'll all agree with that. मतलब तुम क्या कर रहे हो उस फंड से मतलब ही नहीं है. तुमने अपने मतलब तुमने you've raised money, मतलब हो गया, you've arrived. तो एक तो ये बहुत ज़्यादा हो रहा है. And I am a victim of feeling that way, I would say. And second is that this obsession with growth rate. Like when you talk to especially these investors who are sitting, I'm sorry, whoever's listening, on their high pedestal, and just constantly coming and be like, your growth rate should be this much, your growth rate should be this much. And I feel like, यार तुम एक बार business करके देखो. मतलब एक बार आके देखो.
But आपकी मम्मी भी तो बोल रही थी ना 5 लाख लाना है. So
यार वही ना, मतलब but my parents they took 30 years to build a revenue which was where we are sitting in approximately 4 years, right? तो उनको 30 साल लगे उतना बनाने में. Of course मेरे पास बहुत सारे resources थे, education था, बहुत कुछ था जो उनके पास नहीं था, ठीक है? उन्होंने सच में ज़ीरो से ही शुरू किया. Correct. मतलब मेरे पास बहुत सारा प्लेटफॉर्म था when I started, but the point is you will never reach a point where you will feel like you're successful. Like you will never reach a point where you will feel like, okay, I have arrived, I have achieved, and I am very happy. वो मतलब if you've signed up for business, especially, there will always be another brand who would be doing better than you. There would always be another brand, maybe less deserving, getting more funds because of whatever reasons. Till you know, last year, I did not even think that the fact that I didn't go to IIT or IIM made a difference in my life. And now I see that it did. Because it's so much about the brand tag, like so much about the fact that you've gone to a certain institute. And people will not accept it on your face, but they know it. They know that if you had gone to a certain institute and how that would help you in certain areas. So now, I think the fact that this whole IIM course also came up, I didn't even understand the importance of it. I was just excited कि चलो 6 साल बाद business करने के बाद मैं business सीखती हूँ अब जाके, क्योंकि मुझे कुछ नहीं आता, like in the formal education sense. Right. So that's the reason it just happened very randomly for me that, you know, I got through this course and it's fully funded for me, and like I do feel that it's amazing.
We always think that अच्छा IITs नहीं हुए, IIMs नहीं हुए, तो लाइफ ख़त्म है अभी, मतलब क्या ही बिजनेस करे, कौन वैल्यू करेगा. You did it entirely backwards, right? आपने पीछे से शुरू किया और अभी आप जाके IIM Bangalore में हो, where you're meeting these very smart people in your life also. How was this journey like? How have you looked at it in your way? Did you see that? Did you feel that, you know, I mean, I'm not the run-of-the-mill kind. I'm not the kind where मैंने पहले डिग्री की, वहाँ से मुझे पेडिग्री मिली, and then I've situated or started a business जिसने maybe $10 million का funding उठाया.
I have a mentor that was assigned to me in this course who said this to me, that it would have been really disastrous for you if you had gone to an IIT or IIM before starting a business, because you are a person who's like, I think the previous speaker said that you have to identify how you learn. I am that person who learns from others in doing too, and I could relate to that when he said it. That because of everything that I did and I learned through that and I built a business, and now this education makes sense to me. Now all this finance class and all these different things that I'm learning, and I'm like, oh, I knew about it, but I didn't know that there was like a formal term to it. You know, I thought I was really smart and this was my idea, but it's not. हाँ?
एक example दो.
तो जैसे there is a whole concept of brand, community-driven brand or brand-driven community, that's the word. And they taught us, and there was like a 4-hour class around it, and I was like, oh, like this is like a legit thing, you know. I didn't know, honestly. I might sound stupid, but I did not know that there is a fucking concept that they teach in IIM, which is around this, which I have been doing from day one when I started Lost Tribe and organized an art festival and got the whole community and did so many things, and I was just doing it because I was like, it'd be fun to do this. It would be fun to do that. But you know, when I learned case studies about how Fevicol has done it, how Fevicol has created a community of carpenters and would, basically people who are actually the middlemen who would then tell you to buy Fevicol, how they have done it. So when I learned this formally, I realized that that's when I went back and I said that, we are doing so many activities, but we are not evaluating how this is working for us. And that's when I evaluated the quiz matrix and I realized it was working, but we didn't think of it as a very important thing that we were doing. It was just something that one day we were excited and we launched a few quizzes and it's existing, people can take it. We haven't gone back and checked how it's doing now.
How big has Amrutam become now? How big is your team right now? What all are you handling currently? And, are you actively taking part in the business side of Amrutam?
Yeah. I mean, we have like 6-day working, which we are thinking of making 5-day working.
Please do that.
मैंने कल ही announce किया अपने हमारा Friday we have like this whole team call, and at the end I said, and everyone was on mute, and I announced it, and there was like no response. So there was another person who said, like, are you guys not happy? And then everyone unmuted and they said we screamed, but we were on mute. So that's remote working, guys. But yeah, the thing is I am involved, and we were like a team of just 3 people for the longest time, which is my brother, me and Yash. And we were handling everything. And slowly we realized that, we need to pivot, we need to learn more, we need to be the people who pass on the vision, and we can allow other people to learn and bring in their fresh perspective. So now we have a social media team, we have a ads person, we have a community manager, a marketplace manager, we have finance girl, and all of these are very recent. Like we've hired them in like last few months, and we've become a team of about 15, 16 people just on the online side. And I feel like that is a big win. Like that's something that you don't show in your numbers, you don't show that in your revenue. And like a lot of people, don't think this intangible thing as a growth matrix, but I think it is for us, because the fact that I was able to identify a girl who studied law for 5 years to manage my community and marketplace is a success, is a little success for me. Like she feels happy, she feels driven, and which she didn't for the 5 years that she studied law. And we hire very young people. We have a few people who are actually students currently. We hire people from really small places also, like geography-wise. There is no restriction on that, because even pre-pandemic, we were a remote team because we were living in Gwalior and we didn't expect anyone to move their base to Gwalior, and we didn't have any office in Metro City. So I think even when COVID hit, we were in essentials category, so our business grew because suddenly from buying hair care and skincare, people were like, oh, Amrutam has healthcare, let me try that. And then suddenly we saw people understanding the importance of inner beauty, like inner health, rather than what's just on the outside, because they were not stepping out. I think the whole aspect around your health and around your immunity was redefined, which Ayurveda was anyway talking about for 1,000 years, but nobody cared until COVID came and they were like, oh, immunity, what's that? But yeah, so there have been a lot of things that have happened which are not the social definitions of success, but yes, we have made big in the sense that there is a team who works with each other. We are doing a decent monthly revenue. The fact that there was this woman who's 35-year-old plus who conceived after trying for almost 5 years because of our malt. It's called Nari Saundarya malt, and she was eating it regularly with discipline, and she conceived, and that was a win. That was a big win for us. Ki bhai, we made such a big impact in a person's life, and there are many, many stories like that where be it in terms of the health, be it in terms of how we have sort of redefined कि अगर तुम्हारे wavy हैं बाल तो तुमको straight करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. Your wavy hair can look good. Your curly hair can look good. So these are the few things that have come up because of the fact that Amrutam exists. Like, if Amrutam wasn't there in this world, then I know there would be a huge loss for the audience who's using our products right now, because there is no replacement for the values we bring in as a brand.
For somebody who is sitting here or maybe watching this, what is your tip for somebody who is going to start up, who is going to, come up with their own ideas, own brands? How do they go about it?
So I think the first and the foremost is at why do you want to do this? Like you need to answer that even before you start. Because if your vision is just to put like a founder name tag on like LinkedIn, then please don't do it. Don't waste your time. But if you think that okay, मतलब सबके अपने अपने reasons होते हैं, but find out that reason first, even and then when you do that, then you will know that okay, this is my product. These are the people that would need my product, because anything that you make in this world, someone will need it. Even plastic, जो इतनी useless चीज़ है, we are using it now. So it's like that. That first identify कि किसके लिए बना रहे हो, क्या बना रहे हो, and then on top of that, I think add like how are you going to communicate with them? Like it's not just about the selling. It's also about how you're communicating, even if it is the brand packaging. And that's the reason we needed to change it, because we wanted it to be more in alignment of our identities as people who were running this business. So if you're doing something that's really not in alignment of who you are, and you're just doing it because it works, you will not be able to sustain it. So 3 things that you need to identify is like, whether what you're doing is sustainable or not as a business, because you will be employing other people and their livelihoods are going to get dependent on your business. It's not a small thing, it's a big responsibility. Now when I think of growth, I think about growth for each and every person who's working for Amrutam. I think about, how can I pay them more? How can they learn more? And that is a very big responsibility. It's almost like you become a parent for these people who you have hired, where you have to think about them as well. I mean, if you don't, then they would leave, and then again you will have to find more people. And as like I would talk about Amrutam, we have 0 attrition. Whoever has joined us has stuck with us. Even if there was like, the kids who are in college and they have exams, we tell them, listen, don't work for 2 months and then come back, and then they do. We have that kind of flexibility as well. But at the end, एक तो internal होता है, एक external होता है. Your skill set has to be in alignment of both. When it comes to customer, how do you interact? And when it comes to your employees, how do you interact? And how do you transfer your vision in both your customers, because then your customers become your brand ambassadors. And how do you pass on that vision to your employees, because then they become contributors to your vision. They would carry on, even if you pivot and you start doing different things, they would continue and work towards it. So I don't know, like I don't know the formal words in terms of what skills you need for this, but another thing that I feel is very important is emotional intelligence. We as a society obsess over IQ. We obsess over intellect and knowledge, but emotional intelligence is what is really going to make you relevant, trust me, because technology is going to take over everything that is repetitive. It's going to take over and automate and do much better in terms of efficiency if it's just about the IQ, because IQ can be automated and replaced. EQ is still a long way to go before technology replaces emotional intelligence. So identify how you can work on things that technology cannot replace in whatever areas, be it finance, be it, operations, be it marketing, social media, content creation, anything. Think about what is very unique to me, which it can't be like replicated, it can't be automated, and only I bring to the table. Be it, even if you're doing a job or even if you're starting a business, it's relevant for both, I feel.
All right. Thank you very much, Stuti, for this session. It was an enlightful time for questions. I have one hand there.
So my question was, since you did psychology, what are some other, you spoke about empathy. What are some other traits that you picked up from psychology that helped you in your business adventures?
So I feel that since I had a formal education in clinical psychology, I am able to understand what the person really wants, when I'm in a therapy session and through the client, and when I do that same practice with my customers, sometimes I actually do random calls with my sometimes top performing customers, sometimes really upset customers, and actually understand what made them upset or what made them happy. This is something that I feel helps me in understanding that whether what I am working on is of priority or what they want is of priority. So, like, we keep saying that understand what the customer wants, but we don't include them in the process. How can we involve them? Even if your starting customers are your friends and family, you ask them and be ready to take critical feedback. Because you are spending 100% of your day talking about your product and thinking about your product and how wonderful it is. But a person is probably spending 1% or like a fraction of their day to think about your brand or your product. So their feedback is going to be really, really filtered. So like for me, that has helped. One thing, like empathy, of course, and then the second is understanding what the customer wants. And third, when it comes to my organization, I think that I am very good at identifying what someone would be, what their aptitude is. Like if I'm hiring someone for a task and they're not able to do it, I still give them a few months to understand whether they can do something else which they would like. And I feel like we talk a lot about the external side of the company. We don't talk enough about the internal side, which is about the people who are working for your vision and how can you make them, how can you transfer that. So for that, I feel my degree in psychology again helps me identify what they will like and then give them those tasks so that they are happy on a day-to-day basis. Yeah.
Hi, I am Divyanshu. So I want to know, like you mentioned about the PR story, we can see the numbers there. So like you also mentioned, people buy from people, right? So after the PR, everybody know you have started these things. So how was the numbers before the PR and after the PR? How it impacted you in real time?
PR doesn't contribute to any revenue, to be honest. Okay. It's just something that you do to be able to communicate. It's just one of the channels to communicate your story. And after, I think we shouldn't pay too much heed into it. It's just one of the tools, just the way shipping logistics is. That's the same way PR is also just one of the tools that you do. So you engage, you tell your story. But I don't think that there has been any significant jump just because I was featured on all of these pages. In fact, until I thought maybe it is a big deal, but it adds value in terms of it gives you personal validation. Ki haan bhai, tumne kuch ukhada hai, bas.
And if someone searches you online, they
वही storytelling कि एक tool है. People when they search for, like I'm here, I'm sitting here, I'm talking about my journey or Amrutam. I'm doing that because I love that storytelling aspect. I love that my brand also has a huge storytelling aspect and I'm able to do that. If it impacts even one person's life, when you go back home and I have added even value in one person, then the job is done.
As your product is a community-driven product, right? Where do you, in the next decade or 2 decades, where do you see the community-driven products?
So our vision is actually to bring people close to a healthy lifestyle. And for that, we want to be a one-stop solution for Ayurveda, where people get our products, be it for personal care or healthcare. People get services in the future. We have a pilot platform right now where people can take consultations from Ayurvedic experts. But very soon, few months down the line, you'll see an app where we will have our products and our consultations all in one app. And later, maybe we will also launch courses and workshops. And basically, when you think about Ayurveda, I want you to think about Amrutam in future. So that's where I see it.
All right. Thank you very much, Stuti.